Yo, what's up, guys? We're gonna go through some bets, and I say this in every video, but depending on where you're located, there's like 210 sports books out there. We're not going to be able to cover them all, but there's good bets on every platform. So what kind of sucks about this platform, Jock Market, as an example, Jock Market's legal in a bunch of states, and it works the same way as Prize Picks. So Jock Market actually has the exact same, payout structure as Prize Picks. But what I can actually do is just kind of go here. So the strategy is the same as Prize Picks, right? Jock Market is a platform just like Prize Picks, right, where they're not going to change your payout based on you selecting over versus under, right? Just like on Prize Picks, over under, you're always getting the same 3x payout for a two-pick entry. It's the same thing on Jock Market, right? But the difference is, the reason you want to have multiple books is you'll see Trevor Lawrence, this plays really good, but this line isn't available, on Prize Picks, under 1.5 passing touchdowns. But I've already hit, my max betting limit, unfortunately, on Jock Market, so I'm just going to filter it out. And we'll just kind of focus on, the main sports books that everyone can use because that's more fun. So, Resorts World Bet, it's a cool sports book. It's in New York. There's a lot of good bets. Same thing with MGM. This looks solid, right? Like no passing touchdown for Zach Williams. Javonte Williams, under 53.5 rushing yards. You can get this, plus 110 on BetMGM. What up, guys? You can get this plus 110 on BetMGM. No other sportsbook is offering you, no other sportsbook even has this play at plus money, right? Like Pinnacle has this minus 113, minus 113. Pinnacle is known to be like a sharper, a smarter, more sophisticated sports book. And if a book is giving you the same odds on the over and the under, so like Pinnacle, they have Javonte Williams. His over is minus 113. His under is minus 113. So they're giving you the same odds on both the over and the under. So that means they're saying, we're indifferent. It's 50-50. It's 50-50 if he goes over, and it's 50-50 if he goes under, right? He's 50% to go over, 50% to go under. So getting plus 110 is crazy good, right? 50-50 is like a coin flip. But plus 110 means you're betting 100 to win 110 in profit. So it's like flipping a coin, right? 50% heads, 50% tails, but if it shows up heads, you win 110 bucks, right? That would be a no-brainer. But anyways, without further ado, what we can kind of do, BetMGM has me limited like a motherfucker, so I can't get big bets down. But you can see there's some good bets on Fliff. Some of these plays I locked in, gave out on Twitter. So when you're betting on, traditional sports books like FanDuel, there's a bunch of odds, a bunch of numbers, stuff like that, is you really want to hunt for value in the market. So you can see like Fliff has Tank Dell, over 3.5 receptions at minus 110. Bet online, again, like I explain this a lot with MLB because a lot of good MLB lines, show up when official starting lineups come out. When official starting lineups come out, whoever's hitting for the Phillies, that affects, the opposing pitcher. If it's a bunch of hitters that are more likely to strike out, the opposing pitcher, his strikeout line has to move, right? Leading to line movement. And it's kind of the same thing here. Like you can see for Tank Dell, all the books have started to rip odds towards his over. So he's probably more likely to get more receptions. Maybe another receiver is inactive. Who knows? But you can see the market is moving to have him as a bigger favorite. So being able to get this at minus 110, especially when a really sharp sports book like Bet Online has this at minus 149. You could also arbitrage bet this, right? Minus 110, minus 115. There's a lot of good options, kind of out there right now. What else did I lock in earlier? Then let's start with Prize Picks. Daniel Jones touchdown plus 220. I mean, this looks like a no-brainer, right? Arbitrage to hot streak. And you can see here, the rest of the market has this around plus 130. So Daniel Jones, hoping he can turn his season around. But without further ado, let's kind of get into Prize Picks. And let's look for some plays. So we can go here to NFL player touchdowns. And again, like these player touchdown lines, some sports books offer such bad prices. So like, I gave this out, I showed this on Twitter, but this is crazy, right? Like Josh Jacobs to score a touchdown is minus 185 on FanDuel. So you're betting 185 to win 100 in profit. On DraftKings, he's plus 115. right? You're betting 185 to win over $200 in profit. So like, you know, you got to be shopping around because some of these books will fucking rip you off left and right, just like FanDuel is, you know, kind of right now. But let's start out on Prize Picks. So why don't we start out? Where should we start out? We can start out on Prize Picks with player sacks. So again, what's cool about this arbitrage tool is arbitrage, right? It shows you when sportsbooks, when their lines are so out of sync that you could bet an over on one book and under on another book to, you know, make a risk-free profit. So you can see here, if we, you know, like here, for Elijah Mitchell, you could bet him to score a touchdown at plus 450, and then you could hedge for a profit on Fliff, take his under at minus 390, and you would make a risk-free profit of, you know, depending on what your bankroll is, you can bet however much you want, you know, like $6, $5. You're kind of day trading the sports books. But whenever arbitrage exists, you know one of these bets has to be profitable. So what we can actually do, and I mean, this live stream, we're getting into a bunch of random shit, but our first bet will be on Fliff. So what we can do is we can go here, and let me just change this to show my full device so I can pull up Fliff. Well, actually, let's just do this. Let's see if this works. Banger. So there we go. We got Fliff pulled up. So what we can do is I'm going to take Elijah Mitchell, right? This is in the Cardinals game, to not score a touchdown at minus 390. This will be the first bet we lock in. And then we can kind of like explain it. And it's such a random bet. But, you know, you can see here, it's like, okay, like all these other books, or maybe we can hold off, whatever. But you can see here, yeah, let's just hold off. Let's actually not bet that. So let's go back here and let's just go to, let's go to Prize Picks. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's not do this one on Fliff. But you could arbit with BetMGM. Long story short, you could bet the over on one book, the under on another book, you know, make a risk-free profit, as you can kind of see right here. Once, you know, I'm able to put this screen back right here. Okay, anyways. So if you use MGM and you use Fliff, like this is how I started sports betting. Hit both bets, make a risk-free profit. You know, you can fuck around with the calculator. If you only have $100 you want to put down on Fliff, you know, bet, you know, and you can round your numbers, bet 25 on MGM, 110 on Fliff. You can slightly round the numbers, make $3 risk-free. But anyways, what was I going to say? What we can do, but whenever arbitrage exists, like you can see right here, right? Like DraftKings is crossed with Prize Picks. Of course, on Prize Picks, you can't like, you know, you need at least two bets. Prize Picks is a parlay-only sportsbook. So you can see here, right? Like I can't only bet on Cameron Jordan to go under 0.25 sacks. You need at least two picks. But the fact that Prize Picks is arbitrage to DraftKings means like, hey, we know one of these bets has to be profitable, right? So either DraftKings getting him plus 120, right? Or getting him on Prize Picks in a 5-pick flex play has to be good. And not a bunch of books have sack props. It doesn't seem like, at least. But regardless, you know, that seems like a good play to go with. So we'll start out here. Cameron Johnson, right? Pretty simple, like the strategy for beating, you know, Prize Picks. We've explained it before. I obviously, you know, follow a very nerdy, data-driven approach. But like I understand, you know, Prize Picks, their payout structures inside and out. So basically on Prize Picks, if you can win these over-unders, these more or less, right? If you can win your picks above 54.25% of the time, you're going to be profitable playing 5-pick entries. So what I can do is go back here and we can share it here, right? So we'll start with Prize Picks, right? Prize Picks is a weird platform, right? If we take Cameron Jordan's over, we get a 3x payout and a 2-pick entry. If we take his under, you know, we get a 3x payout and a 2-pick entry. That's not like normal. Like I think a lot of people are used to it because Prize Picks is really popular, but that's not normal, right? That's actually really weird. Like if you think about it, right? Like really weird. Like as an example, for example, if we go to the NFL, we got the Falcons game. Remember this game starts at 6:30. So set your alarms early. But like here, right, if we take Travis to go over 2.5 receptions, our parlay comes out to plus 145 odds. If we take his under, it comes out to plus 211. So like these other sports books change their odds based on what they think is more likely. On Prize Picks, they give you the same payout, right, regardless of what over or under. So that's really weird. But it means the strategy for beating Prize Picks is really simple, right? They don't change your payout based on you selecting over versus under. So what you want to do is you want to compare the lines on Prize Picks to those on the sports books. Find spots where the sports books have one outcome. In this case, it's Jordan's under. DraftKings has this as a minus 150 favorite. Here's a little line movement chart, But you can see they have him heavily favored to go under, right? So he's more likely to go under. Minus 150 favorite, right? Minus 150 means a 1.5 to 1 favorite, means a 60% favorite, right? That's what it means. That's what, like a lot of people don't understand. Odds, if you remember like high school math, odds are a probability. Minus 200 means a 2 to 1 favorite means 2/3 to win. So according to the sports books, the betting market, the Vikings are roughly 2/3 to win this game, right? They're roughly minus 200, 2 to 1 favorite, 2/3 to win. The Eagles, on the other hand, are like minus 400, if you remove the VIG, plus 350, minus 450. Minus 400, 4 to 1 favorite, 80% to win. But anyways, so we can see here Cameron Jordan's under is heavily favored, so we'll take that pick. And then I think I heard someone mention that we should be looking at Kyren Williams, so we can take a look at that. So this play seems decent. You can see not a lot of sports books, and this is why they rip you off, right? Like we just showed with Josh Jacobs. Plus 115 on DraftKings, it was like minus 185 on FanDuel, is they'll rip you off, right? So like here for Kyren Williams, FanDuel has him minus 150 to score a touchdown, right? Fliff has him plus 105. So that's crazy. But that's because FanDuel, they're not giving you a two-way market. Like they're not even letting you bet the under. So they juice their markets on the over a lot because they're not showing you odds or prices on the under. But anyways, what we can do is let's go here and let's start to look for some picks on Prize Picks. Damn. Happy Saturday. So we can go back here, and what we can do is we can just filter for Prize Picks. So again, like Prize Picks, is a very simple platform. You can see there's 2 plays that EV Tool is recommending. Again, like I follow a very data-driven approach. If there's certain picks you don't like, you can skip them. But I never bet with my gut. I'm always just following the data. So if we look at Tyler Conklin, right, like every sports book, you can see right here, you have a bunch of different sports books. They all have him heavily favored to go over, right? He's a big favorite to go over. Fliff has him at minus 160. BetMGM minus 155. So all of these books are, data points. They're all data points telling you, hey, like, FanDuel's like, hey, we think he's, a pretty big favorite to go over. So again, Prize Picks is going to give you the same damn payout if you take the over or the under. So if the over is a lot more likely, according to all the sports books, and the positive EV tool is just showing you plays where the sports books have a line heavily favored and you can get it on Prize Picks, that's a no-brainer, right? Like all the books have them heavily favored to go over. So again, on Prize Picks, we have to win 54.25, right? If you can win your over-unders, like Conklin over-under 2.5, if you can win these over-unders above 54.2% of the time, you're going to be profitable. So this play is good to go and we know that because we have all these sports books, billion-dollar companies, setting lines and moving around lines due to our actions coming in. They have really good models, really good data feeds. And it's not just like there's one sports book. Every sports book, FanDuel, $10 billion company, they have him as a minus 156 favorite. BetMGM, another billion-dollar company, right? Their full-time job that they've invested hundreds of millions of dollars into is their ability to price these lines and move lines around based on new information in the market, injuries, stuff like that, weather, whatever, and based on where action's coming in, right? So lines move, right? Like a lot of people don't get that, but like these books move around lines based on where action's coming in the market, So if we all start to hammer, if we all put our life savings on FanDuel, on Tyler Conklin over 2.5 receptions, like they'll move the line towards his over. They're not stupid. So anyways, we have our first pick. And then you can see, damn, we got a few more that look pretty attractive. And again, like, it's always going to be the same strategy. So this play, I'm not sure, like taking 2 receivers, or obviously Hall is a running back, but taking 1 player to go over, 1 to go under, I always question that a bit in the NFL, right? They kind of compete for receptions, but if the Jets, have the ball longer and are having longer drives, then they're both more likely to go over. But anyways, so let's go to Kenny Pickett next. So here we go. And here can be our next pick. Kenny Pickett, no pick, is our next pick. So why do we want to take him under, right? Again, I follow a very data-driven approach. Why is OddsJam recommending this bet? Is again, OddsJam is just scanning these tens of thousands of lines across sports books and trying to point out, value in the market. Good bets, however you want to think about it. So why is Kenny Pickett? Why do we want to take his under? And you can see right here, it's like, all these sports books, right? Barstool, DraftKings, everyone has him heavily favored to go under, right? So if you go to, interceptions, so all of this information is, data points to help us make better bets. DraftKings has him as a big favorite to go under, right? Minus 135 to not throw an interception. So it's like, okay, like that play seems good. And then you can see here, we have, Kittle and Herbert both to go over. So this can be our first play. And again, like you saw, there were 2 plays on, so we want to take him over 2.5 receptions. Where are we? Over 1.5 receptions, I apologize. And then we want to take Kittle over 3.5. So this play, hard not to like. So we can see how is this looking. Looks pretty good to me. And then this can be a 5-pick entry. And again, if you like the play on Breece Hall, better than the play on Tyler Conklin, all this fantasy optimizer is doing. Again, when you go through the math behind Prize Picks, what percentage of your over-unders do you have to win? You'll see it's 54.25%. So all this optimizer is doing is like scanning the market, comparing all these lines to those on, the sports books throughout the betting market, and showing you plays where you're getting enough value to justify, betting it. So like Tyler Higbee, Prize Picks has his line too high at 36.5. Other books are like 32.5, 33.5, but still not enough value necessarily to justify betting it. We just want the plays winning above 54.25% of the time. So this play seems good, right? And again, what you could do is you'll see Prize Picks fucking hates me. They only give me $25 bet sizes because we've beaten them up too bad. But what we could do is just be like, and they only let me bet $100 total per day. But what we could do is just be like, okay, like let's take this, and then, whatever. Maybe you want to change out Conklin for an under or something like that. But what we can also do is look at these TD lines because there were some TD lines that I really liked. So if we go here, right, we can look at like Travis on the sportsbook screen. It just kind of shows you where, all the books have their line set. And you can see like, again, like a lot of these books only have one-way markets. Don't look at them. They're not relevant. They're not even giving you odds on an under. Whereas you can see here for like Travis Etienne, Fliff has him minus 165 to go under. So the sports books are telling you he's more likely to go under. But what sucks is not a lot of sports books, again, are going to have two-way markets on these touchdown props. But if we look at like, who are some other plays that we could look at? We can go here. We can take a look at Justin Jefferson, right? And you want to see more juice. More juice is better, right? So like on Prize Picks, Justin Jefferson, he's a very slight favorite to go under, right? Fliff minus 125. Fliff is one of the few sports books to give you where you can bet in a player to not score a touchdown. So you're going to see Jefferson, he's slightly favored to go under, but not like a big favorite. So it's like, okay, like that's not what we want. You want to see big favorites to not score a touchdown. Because again, on Prize Picks, like Prize Picks, they give you the same fucking payout regardless of what you pick, right? Like NFL, if we start throwing CSGO in our entry, WNBA, I mean, whatever, we're always getting the same payout, 10x, 2x 0.4x. So it all just boils down to what percentage of your picks can you win. So you want to find plays that are really heavily favored, you know, to go under or over. It's not always unders, but for a lot of these pass plus rush, you know, player props, it's been a lot of value on the unders in general. So we can check out Williams. So Williams, you can see, you know, favored to go under pretty heavily, minus 145, minus 155, right? So that seems good. So again, like, you know, the bigger, so if we go to an odds converter calculator, right? Like you can imagine if we could find a player prop that was minus 200 to go over or under, minus 200 means a 2-to-1 favorite, 66% to win. If you could win your prize picks player props, your over-unders 2/3 of the time, right? If you can get these over-unders correctly 2/3 of the time, your ROI would be 110%. So that's not really going to be possible, though. We're not going to, prize picks isn't stupid enough to leave up lines that are minus 200 to occur on sportsbooks. However, you know, Williams is like minus 150. That's like 60%, right? Granted, the VIG is still in there, but 60%, didn't mean to do that. But if you could win, you know, 60% of your over-unders on prize picks, that's a 43.4% ROI. So we just want to find spots where prize picks has where sportsbooks, the betting market, has something really heavily favored as much as possible. And again, this isn't something you like need OddsJam to do. Even if you don't use DraftKings, pull up their, you know, interceptions lines and you can like scan around. So like, you know, Desmond Ridder, he's heavily favored, and Trevor Lawrence, they're both big favorites to not throw an interception. But the issue is if we go to prize picks, you'll see they don't have a lineup on Trevor Lawrence interceptions. They're too smart. They realize it's too good of a pick and there's too much value on the under. So they don't have Trevor Lawrence up, and they also don't have, you know, Desmond's lineup. So what we have to do is we got to look for another pick. So let's go back here, and we can just kind of clear out, I call it clearing out the board. So what we can do is we can go back here and we can go to, you know, this, and then we can try to find some other picks to go with. So what else looked good? Walker looks good. Walker, this play has been up all week, and it's probably the best play on the board, right? So you can see Walker. So you can see Walker, and then you can kind of like, you know, get rid of whatever picks you want. But Walker is a huge favorite to not score a touchdown, right? When you look at these sports books with the two-way markets, Fliff has him minus 160, Hard Rock minus 150. So that play seems pretty good. And, you know, again, prize picks isn't, in general, going to be stupid enough to leave up super, super good lines. But let's check out, like, you know, what about Tony's line? So you can see, you know, kind of split, whatever. You kind of want to see the whole market aligned, that someone's a big favorite to not score a touchdown. So Joshua Kelly, we can look at. So you can see Joshua Kelly, he's like very slightly favored to score a touchdown. So if you had to pick, you'd rather use his over as opposed to his under, but still not enough value to justify betting it. So we can go to Derrick Henry. Oh, this play seems really good. He is a big favorite to not score a touchdown. So that seems great. So we can go to Derrick Henry. And Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs we kind of had earlier in the week. You can see he's favored to not score a touchdown. But again, like here, the sportsbooks have him like minus 140 to not score. Whereas for Derrick Henry, he's minus 185 to not score a touchdown on Fliff, right? Minus 160 on Hard Rock. So he's a lot bigger of a favorite to not score a touchdown. And again, just following the data. So what we could do is we could go with... And again, like, only thing to mention is when you're betting on prize picks, you want to be a little careful if you're, you know, including the same player, players from the same team, you know, in your entry. So, you know, Williams to go under. So we could do something like this. I don't see any picks for the same game here. So, I mean, this play seems pretty good. And again, Prize Picks fucking only $10 for these 6-pick entries, but this seems like a pretty good play to go with. And then we can hop over to Underdog Fantasy, right? So all I'm doing is following the market data. I would love to bet Desmond, Ritter to not throw an interception on Prize Picks, but they don't have a lineup, right? Prize Picks is too smart. So we're trying to find, out of all this crap they have on their website, what are those few plays where sportsbooks have a line really heavily favored, and we're getting a pick winning above, 54.25% of the time. So we can go back here, and then maybe we can go to Underdog Fantasy, and we can take a look here. Some of these plays I know I've already locked in, but this play is the top play on the board, right? Underdog Fantasy, it's very similar to Prize Picks, right? Fixed payouts. There are some differences from platform to platform. So like, for example, on Prize Picks, any 3-pick entry, any 3-leg parlay you create, what's up guys? Frozen. Damn it. So give me 1 sec. I got it fixed. So let's go here. I don't know why this keeps happening. So now it should be fixed, and let me pull up Prize Picks again. So what we can do is we can go back to Prize Picks. I apologize. Sometimes it's fine, but I got to do a better job at checking the chat. So here's the Prize Pick slip I locked in. So, Kyron Williams, heavily favored to not score a touchdown. If we go to Derrick Henry, this is even better, right? He is a huge favorite to not score a touchdown. Minus 185, minus 165, minus 140, minus 140. Not a ton of sports books, again, have two-way markets, but you can see Caesars too, right? Like, Caesars has him, where is it? Plus 120. Right, so what you can kind of assume is, okay, like if they have him plus 120 to score a touchdown, but they're not showing you the price or odds on an under, they probably have it at, close to minus 160-ish. Sorry about the screen freezing. Yo, chat's open. But anyways, here we go on Prize Picks. Derrick Henry, heavily favored to not score a touchdown. And then we got some other good picks. So where do we want to go to next? I don't know why it fucking keeps freezing. It's very annoying. Damn, that's beat. But anyways, what we can do is we can go back here. And we can take a look for some plays on Underdog, Prize Picks. So here's the first play we could go with. Johnson over 7.5 rushing attempts. Right? So we can hit this play. Include this in an entry. Let's load up Underdog. Damn. So we're playing we have been playing a lot of 5-pick entries on Underdog. Some are looking decent, but looks like it's been a little rough on Underdog recently. That means we're going to start bouncing back, hopefully. But we got a lot of good slips open. So let's just go back here. We can take a look at the first pick we want to go with. So Johnson over 7.5 rushing attempts will be the first one we go with. All the books have him heavily favored to go over 7.5 rushing attempts, right? DraftKings all the way down at minus 160. Bet online minus 156, and you can see they've been moving lines towards the over as well. So that seems pretty solid. Johnson over 7.5 rushing attempts. On Underdog Fantasy. So that's the first play we could go with. And then what we can do is we can go back here to the Fantasy Optimizer. Well, we can actually take a look at what TD lines they have up as well. So let's go back here. How many TD lines do they have up? Oh, damn. Whoa. So I get the feeling there's going to be some really good TD bets that we can get in. So what we can do is we can go here. So again, Prize Picks, Underdog, they work basically the same way. Some small differences between these sports books. On Prize Picks, any 3-pick entry, you're only getting a 5x payout. On Underdog Fantasy, it's a little higher, 6x. So, obviously those things make a difference long term. But let's take a look at Travis, right? Like you can see here, it's like, Most books have him pretty heavily favored to go under. Caesars plus 109. Again, you kind of want to ignore these books with two-way markets that don't, most books don't have two-way markets, right? They only have, you can only bet the over on Caesars at plus 109. But again, you can kind of assume what odds they would be giving you on the under. You know, they're pretty close to Fliff. So they'd probably have this line at like minus 160 or something close to that. So this play seems a little decent, but what we can do is we can check out like Tyreek. So you can see he's slightly favored to go under on Fliff. Fliff is one of the rare sports books that offers two-way markets. But what we really want to go with is this, right? Again, like obviously he scored a lot in recent weeks, but if we take a look at, you know, Raheem, like all the books have him as an underdog to score, right? He's minus 165, minus 160 on Hard Rock to not score a touchdown. On Underdog, we win 55% of our over-unders. We're going to be profitable, and we have the entire betting market, all these sports books, telling us he's heavily favored to go under. And anyways, if you're tuning in, sorry about the screen freezing. Here's what I hit on Prize Picks. And then here's also another one I hit on Prize Picks. 5-pick entry, 6-pick entry. Prize Picks has roughly the same, you know, like it doesn't really matter. You can be indifferent to playing 5 or 6-pick entries. And again, it's because all these platforms boil down to win rate, right? So like Prize Picks, literally any 2-pick entry we create, we're going to be getting a 3x payout. Overs, unders, soccer, Australian basketball, what the fuck ever. You're always getting a 3x payout. So it all just boils down to what percentage of, you know, like what percentage of your over-unders, like Tyler Cook over-under 16.5, what percentage of, you know, these picks can you win? And if you can win your over-unders, you know, on Prize Picks, if you can win these over-unders 56% of the time, you're going to be really profitable, 12% ROI, playing 5-pick flexes. Playing 2-pick power plays, you're still going to lose money. Your ROI is going to be negative 6% when you break down the Prize Picks payout structure, right? So literally, if you're able to hit your over-unders 56% of the time, only losing 44%, you're going to get killed playing 2-pick entries. Your ROI is going to be negative 6%. But if you literally just switch to playing 5-pick entries, your ROI will be 12%, right? So pretty good. So what we can do is we can go back here. So rushing plus receiving TDs, no, because no, because that's the same as player touchdowns, right? These are the exact same thing. Rush plus receiving TDs is the same as player touchdowns. So if we look up like Patrick Mahomes, it doesn't include passing touchdowns, right? So rushing plus receiving is what's included and what you can compare to, right? So Raheem is heavily favored to go under. He is minus 165 to go under in player touchdowns. But if we go to player rushing touchdowns, I don't know. So we can look at rushing touchdowns. If you look at rushing touchdowns, he's minus 225, right? So the difference between rushing touchdowns is if you take him under in rushing touchdowns and he receives for a touchdown, your bet will win. But obviously, you know, if he scores a touchdown receiving, that's incorporated in player touchdowns. So these things are actually the same. So ETN heavily favored to go under. So is Raheem. This play we have from the positive EV tool. Again, on Underdog Fantasy. Damn. Look at this play that just popped up. You can see lines are ripping towards Kincaid going over 2.5 receptions. Ah, fuck. Did they just remove it or did they just put it back? So they just put this back, it looks like. So that play seems pretty good. Damn, so this play seems solid. And then we can lock it in. I've already hit my $100 limit on Dalton Kincaid, Raheem and Chris. So I'm not even going to be able to bet 3 of these, but all of these picks look pretty good, right? So why would we want to take Dalton Kincaid over? Well, it all boils down to why is this pick winning above 55% of the time? And, you know, that's just the math behind Underdog Fantasy. And you're going to see all the sportsbooks have him super heavily favored to go over. I mean, super heavily favored. So if you haven't already bet this player prop looks really, really good on Underdog. And again, most bets on Underdog suck. You know, we really are looking through for the needles in the haystack, you know, those few rare betting opportunities where they're, you know, screwing up and there's actually a really good line that we can get down. Oh, boy, they are releasing lines left and right, though. So I'm not even going to be able to bet some of these player props, which is fucking annoying, but that's just how it goes sometimes. So Trevor Lawrence, under 1.5 passing TDs, super heavily favored to go under. Tyreek Hill, I've already bet on. Chris Moore, it's a lower profit margin. You know, everything. So let's do this. I don't want to pair things from the same game initially. Let's go back here. So again, everything boils down to win rate. So these plays that, you know, are higher profit margin, they're going to be winning like, you know, let's say 57% of the time. So those would be a higher ROI play on Underdog than like, you know, this play on, you know, Moore is very marginal. Still, we'll go with it, but it's more marginal. And again, this is the best play on the board right now, it looks like. Super heavily favored to go over. Who knows, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe there's some reason. Maybe another Buffalo receiver is out. Maybe the coach made a comment, we're going to get Kincaid more involved. Who knows? But like clearly, the market has adjusted to having him as a really big favorite to go, you know, over. Damn, so Underdog Fantasy has had a lot of bets recently. A lot of these plays I'm already on, though. Jamar Chase over 6.5 receptions. You know, we're already on it. So Trevor Lawrence under 1.5 passing touchdowns. Okay. Keenan Allen over 7 receptions. You can see here, it's like, okay, like, you know, let's take a look at this play. Over 7 receptions for Keenan Allen. Underdog Fantasy. Is if we look at prize picks, right? Let's take a look here. You know, you'll see, okay, like his line is at 7.5 receptions, right? That's a data point. Even if you think you can predict the future and you know everything and you don't care at all about data and value and whatever, like, still should be helpful to know where other books are pricing things. It's pretty careless to place it, like, you'll never make money. The example like we showed earlier, 7.5 is the line on, so let's make sure it didn't freeze. Yeah, I'm not going to take them together. I agree that's probably negative correlation. But you can see here, Keenan Allen, his line is 7.5, you know, everywhere else. So this play seems decent. We can skip it. We can save it for later. Oh, man, we got some esports plays showing up. Tyreek Hill I already have. And then it's like, you know, we have some random fucking CSGO play. But, hey, if that's where the value is, that's where the value is. So we can take a look here. First 2 player map kills. You know, it's like, okay, like the 2 other data points are saying, yo, this line should be higher at 38.5. So what we can do is we can go back here to esports, lock in this over. Now we have a 4-pick entry. But what we can do is we can be like, okay. So some of these plays, again, I've already locked in. Not going to be able to bet them again. We have Trevor Lawrence under. But let's go to these TD lines, because I'm almost positive some of these are going to be good. So again, we want to skip over this play because we already have the play on Trevor Lawrence. This play is good on the under, but I already bet it. Tyreek Hill, I already bet. Let's look at Diggs. So Diggs is incredible. It's incredible value on the under. Every sportsbook has him as a huge underdog to score a touchdown. So this play looks incredible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 picks with insurance. And again, it's pretty marginal if you play things with or without insurance. So maybe this time around, we'll play it without insurance. It's very marginal. And I've already hit my fucking limit on digs. I hate these underdog fantasy betting limits. But again, why do I think this bet is really good and winning above 55% of the time? And it's again, like, you know, all these sports books, no offense, they have better models than you. They have better data feeds. But most importantly, right, they have access to flow, right? They're seeing bets that are coming in the market. Fliff has probably had millions of dollars bet, you know, on the NFL. They're taking bets. They know which customers are smart, which customers are up money, which customers are down money. And they're using the action to shape their lines, right? So that's really important, right? So we can see here, if we take a look at, you know, Diggs, he is a big favorite, as you can see right here. Right, he's a huge underdog to score. Or sorry, yeah, he's a huge underdog to score. He's heavily favored to not score a touchdown. Minus 180 odds. And it's not just Fliff, right? I always say, like, all these books are doing it independently. All these books have their own lines. So you essentially have dozens of data points telling you where a line should be set, right? So, like, Fliff has this minus 180. Hard Rock minus 170. You know, you can see Caesars is pretty similar to, like, Fliff's odds, right? So they'd probably have the under if they offered lines on the under at like minus 175. But long story short, this is an absolutely incredible bet. Like, to be very clear, like, I would fucking love to be on that shit. I'm just not going to be able to because their betting limits suck. Mixon, heavily favored to go under. This play looks fucking fantastic. Although I do already have a play on Chris Moore in this slip. Although it was kind of marginal, so maybe I get rid of this play on Chris Moore. Joe Mixon play seems better. So again, like, a lot of people will be like, oh, let me just bet this on Prize Picks. No, you won't, right? Prize Picks is too smart. They don't have this lineup right now, right? You can't bet on him to go under on touchdowns. So it's like, damn, we found another good line. Fuck, we got the Derrick Henry line here too. But again, we don't want to include that in the same slip as Mixon. So, right, we'll have to wait on this. So maybe what we'll do is, fuck it, let's just make this a 4-pick entry, right? So I'm going to lock in this as a 4-pick entry with insurance. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what we can do is we can go to Henry and we can start building our next slip, right? And this article kind of explains, like, how many picks are optimal on each of these platforms. Good call, good call. I see people calling out. Underdog is sleeping. They didn't have these TD lines up for most of the week. So they just started to launch a lot of these TD lines. Wow. And they are fucking up a lot of them. Whoa. So let's go to Kenneth Walker next. Right? Kenneth Walker, heavily favored to not score a touchdown. So it's like, okay. Unders parade. Geno Smith. Let's check out, Tony, our boy Tony. So here though, it's just a little weird. Like, it looks like Hot Streak has the over favored. Fliff has the under favored. So it's not really clear, like, what's the play in some way, right? Because not a ton of these books have these two-way markets on TD lines. Let's check out McCaffrey. But for McCaffrey, it's not touchdowns, it's rushing touchdowns. So if we take a look at McCaffrey, you can see he's slightly favored to rush for a touchdown, but not that favored. Only like minus 130. Now, granted, to score a touchdown, he's very heavily favored. He's like minus 250 once you include receiving props. So that play's no good. because it's rushing touchdowns. But what we can do is we can check out Keenan Allen. What the fuck? Where are you? So Keenan Allen, it doesn't even look like Fliff has a lineup on him to score a touchdown. So maybe we just skip it over for now. Javonte Williams, heavily favored to not score a touchdown. Damn. So there we go. I got my third under. Check out our boy Zach Moss, heavily favored to not score a touchdown. And my assumption is underdog. So Zach Moss, right? Fliff has the same odds, same with Hard Rock, on both the over and the under. So they're basically saying it's 50-50 for him to score or not score. If you're so basically there's no edge, there's no value in taking his over or his under. Right? So definitely don't want to bet that. Kyron Williams, you know, you can see he's favored to go under. Not as good as some of the previous plays. Stafford, Jefferson, Madison. He's pretty heavily favored to not score. Right? Like, if you look here at Jefferson, Jefferson's a very slight favorite to not score. Madison is like minus 155. Pretty big favorite to not score a touchdown. So it's like, okay, this is a play winning above 55% of the time. DeAndre Swift, I have to assume this play's good. No? Yeah, definitely good. You know, you can see here, all the books with two-way markets have him minus 150 to score. BetMGM has him plus 130 to score. Minus 150 to not score, I mean. BetMGM has him plus 130 to score. So you can assume the odds on their under would be like minus 170, right? Damn. Did we already bet Mixon? So I can't bet fucking Diggs. I can't bet Mostert. And then ETN. So I'm going to lock in this 5-pick entry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 crazy plays. We're fading a lot of stars, but if that's where the value is, that's what we'll lock in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, again, like not doing anything super complicated. I'm just following the data, hunting for plays with an edge. Literally everything you do as a trader, right? You don't let your emotions, gut get in the way. You just kind of like follow the market and you look for plays with an edge where people are screwing up and you can take advantage. And it's the same thing here. My assumption is Underdog Fantasy makes so much money from all the recreational bettors hitting the overs that they're fine with some of the, you know, sharper, more sophisticated customers getting plays with an edge, taking the under. But still, I mean, I'm obviously going to take advantage of the place. So thank you so much, Underdog Fantasy, for that. 20x payout. Okay, I hit this without insurance. So let's make sure the screen didn't freeze. So the screen did not freeze. So what we can do next is we can go back here. You know, so we got some really good TD value on Underdog Fantasy. This play on Dalton Kincaid is absurd. I mean, there's a ton of value on Underdog right now. So we can go back to Prize Picks here in a sec, maybe. But what we can do first is just like, okay, like, you know, let's get rid of MGM. The fuck? So let's go here. And let's just look for some bets. So let's go to Prize Picks. And we can see, okay, like what's out there on Prize Picks. There were a ton of plays. So again, sometimes there's more good bets on Prize Picks. Sometimes it seems like there's more good bets on, you know, Underdog Fantasy. On Prize Picks, there's not a ton though. Again, Herbert over 1.5 receptions. It's the same strategy as Underdog, right? They're not changing your payout based on you selecting over versus under, right? So very simple. Everyone has Kenny Pickett favored to not score a touchdown. And a lot of people will ask, like, oh, like, but what if Kenny Pickett, what if all the sports books are wrong? Well, what you have to remember is if all the sports books were wrong, everyone would have bet his interception line at plus money at underdog odds until it was favored, right? These books move around lines based on where action's coming in. That's why markets are so powerful. Is when you think about it, like, why is it basically impossible for anyone to be a day trader who's not working at, like, who doesn't, have the best models, whatever, is because, like, this price, the price of Facebook, there are millions of people, investors, who wake up every day and think, is Facebook overvalued or undervalued? That's their full-time fucking job, right? So the price is equilibrium, right? Is where supply and demand meet. And it's really hard to beat what a million people, the entire market, millions of investors wake up every day thinking, what is Facebook stock overvalued or undervalued? They're reading all these documents, looking into their financials. It's really hard to just like outsmart millions of people in the consensus, and it's the same thing here, right? Like, if he is truly more likely to throw an interception, all the sharp bettors with their sophisticated models, the sports betting syndicates, sports betting hedge funds, everyone would have bet Kenny Pickett interception until the books were like, oh, fuck, I guess his over is favored, and they would move lines towards the over. That's why books in general are, consistently moving around lines. Lineup changes, stuff like that, but it's like, you can see odds are ripping towards Dalton Kincaid to go over. I don't exactly know the reason why. Maybe he's expected to get more targets because another receiver's out. I mean, who knows, right? I don't know. But anyways, FanDuel, Caesars, DraftKings, we got anything? So here's that play on Tank Dell, Jalen Hurts. So there were some good bets. We got some MLB bets. Baker Mayfield under 13.5 rushing yards. Chris Moore under 2.5 receptions. Some bets on Bovada. So this play seems crazy good at minus 110, right? Like, all these other books are pricing it at minus 149. Crazy good. So let's go to ParlayPlay quickly, and then maybe we go back to Prize Picks or Underdog. So I can refresh this and just be like, okay, like, let's check out what's available. In some of these plays we've already locked in. Again, the hard part, as you saw on Underdog Fantasy, it's $100 max bet sizes. So that's kind of the max I can get down. Damn. It's not a ton of plays right now, but there's some. And again, the good thing about ParlayPlay is they have better payouts than most of these other platforms. And it's also available in basically every state. So a lot of the value has gone away, at least some of the early value. So you can see, like, ParlayPlay has his line at 37.5. All the other books, Caesars has his line at 35.5 with the under favored. FanDuel 32.5. So like all the other books have his line, lower. So that's indicating to us, hey, there's value on the under. Kind of the same thing for Tyler Higbee. Although I'm not sure if it makes sense to take players on, opposing teams to both go under in receiving yards, so we can skip that over. But, right, if we look, like, it's like, what are they doing, right? We literally have one sophisticated book, sophisticated model. Their projection is 184.5. That's where the line's set. Same thing, 185.5, 184.5. Barstool, 184.5 with the under slightly favored, slightly juiced. BetMGM, 184.5 with the under favored. Prize Picks, 185.5. Like, whatever the fuck you think your own model or sports knowledge knows, that all these independent sports books setting lines, moving lines around due to our actions coming into the market, they have better models, more money, better data feeds than any of us have. You want to use all this information to your advantage. So this seems like a great play. And again, on ParlayPlay, I, in general, am going with 6-pick entries. And the reason we want to go with 6-pick entries is I'll kind of show you. They have really good payouts for 6-pick entries. The issue is they have very low bet sizes. But you can see Prize Picks pays out 25 2.4x. ParlayPlay is a bit higher, which obviously is, a good thing. You want higher payouts. So a lot of esports line discrepancies, but there's only 2 data points, Underdog and ParlayPlay. It doesn't look like Prize Picks has up these headshot lines yet. Bradbury, under 3.5 tackles plus assists, right? The same strategy applies. The only thing that's slightly different is the layout, right? These books all look different. They all have slightly different payouts. Again, Underdog is 6x for 3-pick entries. ParlayPlay only 5x. But why do we want to take Bradbury's under? It's like, okay, let's go here. Let's go to defense special teams, right? He's heavily favored to go under. On all the sports books, we have all these data points saying, yo, he's more likely to go under. Oh, this pairs very well, right? So we're taking Ritter to go under in passing yards. So taking a wide receiver of his, Drake London, to go under, that pairs really well, which you can kind of see if you go to FanDuel and you pull up the Falcons game. And again, if you're just tuning in, here's the 5-pick and the 4-pick we locked in on Underdog Fantasy. If you want to, whatever, I think all the plays are really good. And then here's what we got on Prize Picks, 6-pick and then a 5-pick. Hopefully the screen didn't freeze again. Yeah, we're doing ParlayPlay. So these things pair well together, right? Because if you look here, right, and it makes sense, if you're going to take a QB's under, probably makes sense to take his receivers under, especially on a platform that doesn't change the payout. Like, they're not going to give you a disadvantage. So, like, if we look here, right, if we take, Ritter to go under and Drake London to go under, his top receiver, we get plus 174 odds. If we switch it, even though the odds are the same on the over and the under, right, for Desmond, if we switch it to an over, FanDuel doubles our payout, plus 174 to plus 327. So that's because FanDuel is saying you're a fucking idiot for taking a star receiver's under and then his QB's over. It doesn't make sense, right? If Ritter has a great game and throws for 300 yards, then Drake London probably went over, right? So you really want to look for spots where you're taking, and it's really powerful about sports betting is correlation. It makes these books, very exploitable. Damn, so there's a lot of bets. Hooker and Morrow. Under, over. Hooker, under. Morrow, over. So we want Hooker, under. Morrow, over. And again, the hard part is really just getting down the volume. I say that in every video, or a lot of them. But, and then just making sure any picks from the same game. So this kind of makes sense, right? Well, here we have 2 players on the Eagles. I don't really know anything. I don't know that. I'm not informed enough to know if taking Bradbury's under and Morrow's over, is that negatively correlated? I'm not really sure. So fuck that. Let's skip it over and let's just go here to the last play in green, which is going to be an esports play. So hopefully we start out with a win. And you can see here, it's the same fucking strategy. When you're following the data, you're not betting emotionally. You're not following your gut. You're just kind of, finding plays with an edge. And again, what's cool about ParlayPlay is every single day, if you want, it's only $20 max bet, but you can bump a line in your favor. So if we really like this guy to go, over, we can bump his line from 35.5 to 34.5. You could do that. You could bump Drake London's line too, right? So we want this guy to go over 35.5. All the other books, as you can see on the sportsbook screen, have his line 37, 36.5. And maybe what we want to do is, okay, we already have this really good correlation on this Falcons, play. So maybe we bump it, right? We take him under 196.5. And again, what sucks is, you only get a $20 max bet size. And here you can see 25, 2.5x, 0.5x. That's a benefit of having ParlayPlay because Prize Picks is 25, 2.4x. Worse payouts. So again, you can try to bet more on this for this promo because we're, I'm bumping the line. to 196.5. So I'm getting an extra 5 yards of value. And again, value is what pays the bills. That's what matters long term. Fuck, I've already hit my limit on him. So I guess I've already bet him. I don't even remember when I bet him. Actually, I do think I remember. We bet him a couple live streams ago. So we have him under 193.5. And you can see the line's already come down a bit to 191.5. So 5-pick entries are roughly similar in terms of the EV. And you can get down in a $100 max bet size for 5-pick entries. So whatever, maybe we lock in a 5-pick entry. Again, the CSGO play looks really good. Go Kishima, over 35.5. All the other books, 37, 36.5. Those are data points telling you, yo, value on the over. Parlay play doesn't change your payout based on you selecting over versus under. And again, a lot of brutal variance on these sports books from time to time. Like they're parlay-only sports books compared to Fliff, where you're placing a lot of straight bets, where you can. On Prize Picks, Underdog, you can't place straight bets, right? And on Prize Picks, the only halfway decent type of slip in terms of the payouts is 5-pick entries, right? On Underdog, they're like, yo, you got to make at least 2 picks. So it's only parlays on these platforms, right? Whereas, so that just means you're not going to win as many of your bets, but the payout's going to be higher. It doesn't mean you're not going to make money on these platforms. But you can see here a lot of good bets on Fliff, some popping up on FanDuel, whatever, stuff like that. And usually I just set my max odds to like plus 200. So we have FanDuel, Caesars. We can put in JockMKT, although I'm not going to be able to bet on it. WinBet, Underdog Fantasy. Those are the main books I kind of use. So you can see a lot of the values on Fliff. So no excuse for not having Fliff. It's available in basically every, U.S. state. So here's what we got on, if you're just tuning in, here's what we got on ParlayPlay. Here's what we got on Prize Picks. Boom, 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 boom. And then here's what we got on Underdog Fantasy from this live stream. So some good plays. I'm sure I'll be tweeting out more plays tonight after I shower. But I'm going to get to bed early because the NFL starts early. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Oh, fuck. Let me check Sleeper. Sleeper, there's rarely any value. So on Sleeper, all I've bet is promos. So if we go here and we go to Sleeper, yeah, the only good play is Tank Dell receptions, although I'm not sure if they're running a promo. So I say this all the time, but like these promos are fucking free money, right? Like even Hot Streak, like I signed up for this sports book because, and I didn't know anything about it, but I signed up to rip the bonus. Is it going to reload? So it doesn't look like it's saying it, but they have an $100, like Prize Picks. Prize Picks has a $100, deposit match when you first sign up, a free $100. So even if I don't think I'm going to use a sportsbook a lot, I usually just sign up. It takes fucking 2 seconds, and you get a free $100. So many people are so lazy. It's like, oh, I have to sign up. Oh man, I feel like that's going to take forever. When you'll see these books, they give you $100 for free when you sign up, right? You put in 100, you get 100 for free. On Underdog, on ParlayPlay, on Prize Picks, on JockMKT, on Sleeper. It's all the same shit. You put in 100, they give you $100 for free. This is how these books market against each other. And that's insane if you think about it. It's a free $100. So on Sleeper, I almost never find value. I mean, you can see there's a tiny bit on Tank Dell, but that's why you don't see me give out a lot of Sleeper picks. Are they running a promo? So it doesn't look like they're running a promo. But basically, I've only bet promos on this platform, and I'm already up a few $100 just betting their $20 max bet size promos. Like, we can actually see. What the fuck is wrong with this app? It always has issues on my computer. But you can see here, it's like, they typically run promos like Wednesday and stuff like that. So they had this guy 4.5 to 3.5 receptions that ended up cashing. So like that's basically all I'm betting. $20 max bet size on Sleeper, up a few $100, just taking advantage of the profitable promos. Anything else we want to go with on like Fliff? You can see here, like, once the profit margin gets below like, 1-2%, I really stop giving a shit. But again, like, you have to remember what's really powerful about sports betting is there's a lot of variance, unless you're arbitrage betting, right? Arbitrage betting is risk-free betting. Bet the over on one book, the under on another book to guarantee yourself a profit. That's different, right? But there's not a lot of arbitrage bets right now. But what's really powerful about sports betting is you're betting on games that are that day, right? So like, we're betting on games, almost everything we bet, like all these bets are tomorrow. They all have an edge. So even if this slip, we can actually just calculate the edge on our slip. But you have to remember, like, again, these games are within the next 24 hours, right? So in sports betting, your ROIs are daily, right? So if we look at like Swift, as a simple example, right? DeAndre Swift is heavily favored to not score a touchdown. Every sports book has him at underdog odds. Not a lot of books have two-way markets, whatever, plus 130, plus 120, whatever. So maybe say, okay, like, let's say he's minus 135-ish once you remove the VIG to not score a touchdown, right? So we can go here, go to an odds converter calculator, and he's minus 135 to not score a touchdown with the VIG removed. So what that means is this play is 57.4% to win, right? Let's say. Maybe more like 58. Who knows? You can kind of play around with these numbers. But clearly it's a good bet. He's heavily favored to not score a touchdown. He's a plus 130 underdog on BetMGM to score a touchdown. And remember, we cashed a TD parlay last week. Or 2 weeks ago, I guess. Or last week. I don't remember. On Underdog Fantasy. But what was I trying to say? Is, right, like, if this play is winning 57.4% of the time, our ROI on Underdog is 13%, and that's a daily ROI, right? Like, if you could find bets on Underdog, let's say you can win all your Underdog picks 58% of the day, 58% of the time, right? You can win these over-unders, right? Just like, Desmond over under 15.5 rushing yards, you can win these 58% of the time. Your ROI would be 17%. If you can win these picks 58, only losing 42% of them. And sure, sometimes we place NFL bets that are like a week out, but in general, in sports betting for the NBA, MLB, most sports, you're betting on games that are that day. So, if you're betting every single day and you have a 17% ROI, right, on Underdog, let's say you're betting $1,000 a day, right? That means your ROI is, $170 on Underdog in a day, right? Like in expected return. And again, maybe this number is only 57%, right? Maybe you can only win your picks 57% of the time. So then your ROI is only 11%. And let's say you're, staking $1,000 a day. So this is your stake per day, right? And this is your ROI per day. And then this would be your ROI per month as you just multiply this by, fucking 30. So it would be kind of something like this, right? So that would be kind of like your ROI. If you're betting $1,000 a day on Underdog, on games that are that day, you're winning 57% of your picks. You're winning these over-unders correctly 57% of the time. Your ROI on Underdog is going to be 11%. So if you're betting $1,000 per day, that's $111 in expected return a day, which means 3.3K a month. But there's going to be some brutal ups and downs because you're only betting on fucking parlays. So you have to give it enough time to see kind of the results. You're not going to win every single parlay. A lot of people think just because a bet has an edge, like if a coin is 53% to show up on heads, that's great, right? Like clearly there's an edge. The coin is 53% to show up on heads. If I told you, hey, here's this coin, it's 53% to show up on heads, want to flip it for $100, you can pick the side. You would be an idiot if you said tails. Granted, the coin is still going to show up on tails 47% of the time. So a lot of people, they get it confused. Even if you have a good bet, it's not guaranteed to win. That's not how it works. And even if you have a shitty bet, even the worst sports bettors in the world, Vegas Dave, he still wins sometimes, right? But loses money long term. So, like this play on Trevor Lawrence is good. Granted, it's not guaranteed to win. I'm not saying it's a lock, but obviously, even if, like, he's heavily favored to go under. So you would be clueless and it would be very not smart to take him on Underdog Fantasy to go over. Because again, the entire betting market has his under heavily favored. Jock market has his line at 1. So like, So anything else we want to go with, or did we kind of clear out the board? Maybe we cleared out the board a bit. Ooh. Prize picks. This play just came up. Young-Hoo Koo. Under 1.5 field goals made looks good as well. But again, like, just something to remember is like, okay, like, what was I trying to say? I don't remember. If we're being honest, I don't remember. But we can go back here. Oh, is you just want to be careful. So I'll give you an example of something crazy, which I showed on Twitter, but I mean, it's still insane. There were 5 really good picks on Hot Streak. I gave them out. The nice guy that I am. So it was, I can show you. Hill, under. Kelsey, under. Koo, under. Burrow, under. Let's go, bro. I don't know why this website's always so janky, but we can actually go back here and we can go to Twitter. Who else did we have? Hertz under, right? So we got all these plays with a payout of 100 to win 2.3K, right? Like, the value is now gone. So you don't want to like tail things blindly. These are the same 5 picks like an hour later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I caught them sleeping on 5 really good picks. I bet it 100 to win 2.4K. Now the payout is 100 to win 1.1K. These picks still have the same probability of winning, but it would be clueless to bet it when you're getting half the payout, right? Just like even if Josh Jacobs scores a touchdown, tomorrow, no offense, you're not the sharpest tool in the shed. If you bet him on FanDuel, at minus 185, when you could have gotten 180 plus 115 on DraftKings, you got ripped off, right? You got ripped off. But you made a horrible decision. You still made a horrible bet, right? It's like if you black out and drunk drive home, you still made a bad decision, even if you don't get caught by the cops, right? And again, there's no luck in sports betting long term. If you're not a good bettor over a large sample size, you will lose money, right? Like on ParlayPlay, I'm not winning every bet. But, on basically every sports book this year, I'm up money over a pretty big sample size. Granted, they only have a max bet size, again, of $60 on ParlayPlay, so I'm not betting a ton. Like, I'm not betting a ton of money because I'm only able to bet $60 a day, and it's not legal in a bunch of states. So when I go home to Virginia, I can't even use it. But I mean, still, like 3.6K, ROI of like, 15%, whatever, over not a huge sample size, but I mean, still. No such thing as luck long term. So anyways, hopefully this live stream was helpful. Kind of seems like we cleared out the board. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow early in the morning.